Okay, let's see here. There's one other announcement I need to make, and it's a very special announcement. Melissa and Andrew, I wish that every one of you would wish Melissa and Andrew a happy anniversary, their 1 year anniversary. Awesome kids, doing everything in their power, going through some tough times, but staying put and not giving up. Melissa and Andrew, their anniversary. Is there anybody I forgot? All right. Well, Quentin Fogel, I want you to reach silver this month. I want you to reach gold this month. So, all right. We're looking forward to that. Miss Karen Llewellyn, Jamie Burke out of Australia. God bless you, sir. I spent a little time in conversation with Hussein. Hussein was very concerned about what time this was going to be. And so he got a hold of me. And that was 3 hours ago. He called me at midnight on Skype and said, I want to make sure I don't miss this. Mr. Hussein Alvarez out of Yemen. I believe it's Santa, Yemen. So he's up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I also want to acknowledge Vishal Makadam, Mr. Visualize. He's in love with that name, and I'm inclined to agree that it fits him very well. He's a vision of a young man. I want to offer him my congratulations. And to each and every one of you, I want to congratulate you on being at the right place at the right time. You're definitely about to see the greatest explosion of SFI to date that you've ever seen. We've spent countless hours in preparation. This is just the very tip of the iceberg. This thing is going to, we intend for you and us to be the voice that was lacking in SFI. How's that sound to everybody? Does that excite you? Would you like to be the voice of SFI as positive leaders influencing the community through your efforts to talk, be a part of it, be proud of it, to take it to the masses? Would you like to be there? Because that's exactly what Bing Baldo and I intend to do for you. And we're going to carry you along. We're going to have a journey. We're going to walk together and we're going to learn together. We're going to enjoy each other, and we're definitely going to benefit as we go because we're looking out for each other. How many of you got my six? Will you take mine and Bing's six and make us the best we can be? Cover our back and make us look good. Keep your integrity and honor and respect, and allow no one to deviate us from our course of positive success. You got my 6 hour right. That's what I wanted to hear. Lyle Kennenberg, I know he's got my six. That man worked his heart out today for me. And I am definitely for it. We can do it. We are in the niche. There is not anyone else doing it. And when you find that niche, that crease, in that golden crease in the middle of prosperity, is when you'll start to gain. Now, realizing your mind's going in, it's not going to be easy. It may not necessarily be well received because when change happens, people have a tendency to stand up and stop. The reason they stop is they're not focused on their dream, they're not ready to succeed, and they're not ready to follow a leader such as Bing or myself or any of the numerous E365 leaders here or any of the platinums that are actually active and doing things to promote them. Well, up until now, all you had was a page you could read, you could send emails back and forth, and you could absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, communicate A to A, which allowed you to communicate with everybody. But now we're going to take it to a new level. We're going to put a voice in it. I'm proud to serve you as a mentor and coach. I'm grateful for Bing Baldo that he would link up with me, a man of his caliber that would offer me every opportunity in the world. I would like to, Simon, congratulations on your first anniversary, August 22nd. The reality of it is it's time, guys. Look, it's went through its metamorphosis. It's in its cocoon. The end of the cocoon is being pushed open. And when you do that, what you've done is you've gotten through formulation. Now it's time, after this period of time, to create the stir and the buzz. How do we do that? Well, we all know that you have to have a voice, and a voice has got to be heard in the wilderness for us all to hear the call to action. Our call to action is to be the voice, to be the first in, to set the example, to cruise unknown territory, to bring it forward in such a way that people want to be a part of what we're doing. I visualize that in 1 year's time there will be SFI University in its entirety. It will be a complete and wholesome training center headed up by Bing and myself. Of course, there will be SFI trainers incorporated into that. There will be Lyle Kennenberg's expertise will be and website will be incorporated into that. And we will be incorporating some of you champions as you continue to prosper and grow. As Bing told you earlier, his goal is to make each of you platinum. He will do whatever he can to see you get there. Now, the reality of that is you've got to go 5 by 5 by 5 by 5. So Bing and I were talking, and I said, I'll tell you what, Bing, I got some money I'm willing to throw up. I know you got a little bit of money you're willing to throw up. Let's me and you put our heads together and let's add a voice to SFI for the first time in 15 years. Let's have seminars. Let's bring everything I know to the table. Let's bring you in there, get you actively involved. Let's grow our teams and let's be all we can be. You see, there comes a time when you got to get out of the bleachers and get into the game. Well, first they have to build the field. Well, as you can see, they've done that. And then you have to have the information of when and how to operate that field. And as you can see, they've done that. But the greatest thing that was needed was live interaction. Would anybody disagree with Dr. King that the only thing that was lacking from the completion of SFI was live interaction? I'm glad to hear that. So now what we're going to do is we're looking for leaders. Now, we're going to talk about that contest, but let's talk a little bit, if you would give me the opportunity, just the opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going to have to be necessary for us to accomplish our goals. We know what our goal is. And we've talked about hope, and we've talked about who we are, and that I am what I'm now becoming. We've talked about visualizing our dream by saying, how would the person I want to become do the things that I'm about to do? We've talked about the making of a champion. And I promised you when you first began that if you would stay with me, I would cause all of this to interrelate so that it made sense and it gave it to you channel by channel by channel, which made it easier to grasp each thing and bring it into a whole picture for you. And certainly that is my deepest heartfelt intention. So we've talked about the power of positive thinking, and we've also talked about what it is to walk that extra mile that always seems to be lacking others out there doing the same thing. We talked about hope in the sense that our hope is our dream. Our dream is comprised of all the hope that we have from within. And we are what we are now becoming, and we need to be ever conscious of how the person we want to be sets about doing the things that we are about to do. So that left us up to influence. And leading into tonight's webinar, I wanted you to understand exactly what that means to you. You know, influence is not overpowering someone. It is not discourteous. It is not a in a way of exerting control. It is a lot of things, but all of those things don't play a part in what you call true business and personal relationships that we use influence to gain the trust of others. Influence is like one having impact, that's has the power to influence another, such as you with a new person. They are influenced by what they see in you. So our examples, without us thinking about it, you may be the most important influence in the life of that new person walking through the door. You can be a good influence or a bad influence by the actions you take, but most of all, you will influence. It's a subconscious thing, a cognitive factor that leads to have an effect on what you do. Your power and influence is such that you do that without attempting to do it, if that makes sense. It's cognitive in its nature. It's a factor in you that is going to influence how people, uh, it determines and regulates you. It shapes you. It molds you. It has powerfulness. It has determining factors in it. You become a determiner and determinative. You act as a determinant to others. The powerfulness is acting upon it, the work involved with it, causing it, the causation of it. You have to realize that influence being the center of all things, wherein we are marketing ourselves, which we are as affiliates, marketing first and foremost at all times ourselves. Our vehicle or product is Triple Clicks and SFI and all of the things it has to offer us as a product. Up until now, I've not spoken too much about how SFI works in to the scheme of who you are, who I am, and how we influence each other, and what those actions will do to shape, one, our success, and two, to allow us to realize those dreams that we dream in a much bigger way than just being there and doing nothing, or just being there and not putting out anything. I know that you've heard people, and I have too, forgive me a second, that have come into the conference and they said, I email and I email and I email these people. and they don't respond. Not one person, several people have walked in and said that. But realize this, we are their influence. And whether they choose to respond to that or not is how we put ourselves out to them. Oftentimes, without thinking about it, in our emails, our tone might be coming across to them as a little demanding. They say a little sugar goes a long way, but a pinch of salt will stop a bird from flying. If we are to be the eagles of our own journey and to be the influence upon others, it's mass critical that we do that in a cognitive way, one that is a response that is automatic. It entails a smile, it entails a caring, it entails a uh, compassion for other people, and the ability to have the patience and persistence to do the same thing with them. We talked about duplication was not going out and getting signups. Duplication was when we took the people that had the faith in SFI and us to sign up and became their sponsor, that we wanted them to become like us. It's all over SFI. It's everywhere as you look. It's in the simplest of rules. Get 5 and help them get 5 and help them get 5. I don't like it when I see it that way. That is the raw bones of it. And that's how you create critical mass. But let's look at it a little deeper tonight. And let's think about the influence that we portray to not only our fellow team members, but to our upline and to those that we would have to be a part of our team. How many times has any one of you gotten an email and you opened it and you thought to yourself, oh no, not again, same old, same old, same old. What's it got to say now? Or what's she got to say now? And you become bored because every time you opened that email, you knew it was going to be focused on what that person wanted. That email wasn't focused on what you wanted. It was focused upon what that person wanted of you. Influence doesn't operate that way. You see, in the book of Influencing People, it states that the greatest force we have is to fill the needs of others. I have a quote that was given to me, though not originally of myself, but I live with it in my heart daily, and it's one you will want to write down and put it in your heart. Some of you may have heard it, but I don't think you really thought about it the way I'm going to give it to you. We have to remember that our influence on others is taken in many ways. It can be taken as a sign of, I'm better than you. It can be taken as a sign of, well, he don't really care. He's just trying to get me to buy something. It can be taken as, well, the autoresponder sent this to me. It's not that important. Or I'll just put that off till tomorrow. or it could be taken in a positive light and say, wow, I got somebody who wrote me an email, and we reply to it in a happy voice. You see, our words in the written form become our smile. They become our voice from within that speaks to the heart of the reader. So if we put words out in a lackadaisical manner, what occurs is we get a lackadaisical response, or lazy manner and lazy response. But if we put words out in a positive manner, making those people, and even Gary Carson teaches this, as if I was going to do everything in the world to get them upgrade for you. What you need to do is show you care. What you need to do is pose the questions of not what's in it for you, but what can you do for them to help them to prosper. You see, when we care about others, it makes a difference. And the saying I'm going to give you says it all. People don't know how much you care until you show them how much you care. Let me try that again. I'm going to word it a little different this time. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. That's a little more forceful. So when we talk about influence, it has determining factors. It is determining factors in a lot of the things that occur in our life. It's the effect that we have on another person or individual. You know, it's a power to affect or persons or events, and especially the kind of power that's based on prestige, honor, integrity, the prestige of power and influence, the, if you would, the ambassador of influence, the dignity, the dignitarian of influence. It's your ability to have the dignity, honor, and respect to care about that individual before you care about you. you. And let me tell you why that is. We've already talked about your growth from within. We've already showed why these things need to happen in the steps in which I've carried you along, and where I built your trust in releasing the winner inside of you. I then turned around and taught you how to think about how you would do things. And now what I'm doing is showing you the subtleties about going about it, and how even the minutest thing becomes an influence. You know, we cause influence, we cause something without any direct or apparent effort sometimes. And when I say that, what I'm saying is if you walk in to a formal party dressed in blue jeans and out of attire, and everybody's wearing tuxedos, you create an influence. You influence the people that have met you. When we walk down a street and we hold our head above the sky or with our eyes to the ground, and we don't meet others with eye to eye contact, we create an influence on them. They are in our space, and we're not giving off any of that love, that thing that we don't think about. I make it a practice each day when I'm out and about to talk to total strangers. And I do that in a positive way. I bring a smile to their face if I can. I share a smile with them, and I create an influence in their lives that sometimes makes them have a better day. That's the subtlety of the influence. You know, if you look at the shape of it or influence, if you give direction to something, you experience often, your experience often determines your ability. When we first start out to have that persona of influence, some of us overdo it. It's like a teenager that gets to drive for the first time and they're all gung ho until they get behind the wheel and then they're a nervous wreck for the first 5 minutes. And then they become the king of the road. It's an influence. Our calmness and effect that we have on them is determined by how we interact with them in that crucial moment, in that breath between beginning of their new experience and the ending of our teaching to them at that point. So if we look at influence as it's like an artist. An artist's work influences people. Think about all the great artists that you might know. And think about throughout the centuries of time, our expression of art in all of its forms, how it is the one continuous thing that has continued to evolve, regardless of your culture, country, or where you're at. Art in its purest form is an extension and a huge influence on the way others think about how we do and how our artists portray us in the light that they shed upon us. And I'll grant you that in a lot of cases, we're living in a world where we are surrounded with a lot of suspect influence, bad influence, and even more detrimental than that, influence of the most hideous nature that would hold us from our dreams. The greatest influence that you will ever have, the biggest sale that you will ever get in sales, depends upon meeting that other person's want or need, your influence. And once that person knows that you care about them and that you are building a relationship first and a product second, and then they start to garner their trust in you and bring it out, you can then work together to walk down a, and I like to say it this way, we're all here and we're all taking a journey. For all of us in this room, we're together. It's one huge group that is taking the same journey, that has the same wants, same desires, same needs, and same influence on everybody we meet. So we are responsible, and Bing and I spoke about this afternoon, that as platinum leaders and front line leaders to our upline, whether that be corporate or to Bing or to myself or whoever, have a trust and a duty to set the image of SFI. We are being entrusted to create that personal influence on others that says, this is where I want to be. This is where I can realize my dream. This is the kind of persons and people I want to be with. These people care. These people are all working together. They are a team. You know, I heard it said that they did a study on the word I. And when they did that, they found that 10 out of 100,000 people that they polled in their writing and speaking, that the word I was used 39,000 times. What we've come to is an I world. Now, you know, and I know, and we've been taught all of our lives, though sometimes we set aside the wisdom of our elders, that I is singular, and that no man or woman is an island, and that we do not stand alone, for we will be crumbled and trampled before the masses. But when we take the I out of our life, out from in front of us, and we put in the we and us, we now become stronger from within. The we in us means that we've duplicated ourselves in a form of influence and safety. The us lends to the whole of how the interaction and the journey is taking place. You see, when we say us, it's like we've bonded. When we say we, that's like we're together and the bonding process is about to take place. When we say I, we're on the outside looking in. I, 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 I has no place in our persona that we want to portray to one, our team members, to two, our fellow leaders, three, our community and our social standard. Look around you at how many people are I focused. Look at their influence. It's all about them. It's all about I. They don't care about the other people, though there are good people that we manage to bring into our life that focus upon how we can do something. It's the influence that's going to make the difference whether you are a success and live your dream. It's your influence. It's for you to develop, and it's done through your body language. It's done through your written word. It's done through your interaction in your community. It's done through your interaction on a international scale as you talk to many different people around the world on Skype or A2A. And that influence is going to speak of who you are and where you come from and how you feel about the we and us that you're trying to develop. It creates our persona of integrity. You know, a man once said, you work a lifetime to build your integrity and your honor, to create a prestige in your life that leads to dignity in your later years where you are honored amongst those that you love most. When you do that, what you put in is what you're going to get back. And remember, we are building up memories in the bank of life, if you would. If it's focused on only you, what kind of deposit is it? And what will you reap from that deposit when you get older and you want to make a withdrawal? I use it in that form because as we put our memories into that bank, we need to be sure that one, they're positive, that two, they are based upon the principle of what I call Team Hope, which I have spoken to all of you about. And for those of you that don't know, I'll make a brief description. Team Hope is together, everybody achieves more, helping other people every day. Team Hope. That's the persona that I want. That's the integrity that I will carry. That's the dignity that I will display, that you mean more to me than I mean to me, because your success is mine. We have become united, whether by accident or event. An influence was placed before us that drew you and I together to walk down this journey, to walk down this path, to share together our knowledge and understanding, our love and our compassion, our fears. There are fears. You're always going to fear. You're never going to stop fear. You just learn to control it. You learn to be fear's master as opposed to allowing fear to be your master. You, we have stopped trading time for money. Now I know that may sound crazy, but the reality of it is as long as you're working a job, a job, for someone else that owns that company, and that you have no say so in what occurs or in what direction or how you influence it, you are defeating your purpose. Now, I'm not saying everybody run out tomorrow and quit your job, but what we are going to do is we're going to focus our dream and our journey in such a way is that will be a long past memory before we're done. The last time that I sat down with a group of people that was this motivated, that cared, and really showed the compassion between each other. Now, I didn't say in the Triple Clicks auctions, folks, because there's some dead enemies in this room. And trust me, it's a free game, open competition there, get as you get can, and that's quite all right. That's the format. Competitiveness, competition creates character. Character creates our inner self. Our character is put out in the form of our influence through cognitive manners, through body language, through the way we verbalize to others, the way we choose our words. And I know you remember I said in a previous uh, seminar, the tongue is the most evil part of the body. It's wicked in its nature that it can cut you like a knife, or it can heal you with a word. So you have to always remember to ask yourself the question I taught you. How would the person I want to be do the things I am about to do? That gives you that moment to contemplate the most positive way to show that individual that it's you want to fill their needs because your needs are being met, and by you filling their needs they get what they want, you get what you want, and the company gathers ground and becomes a household name. So when Bing spoke to you about SFI being in infancy, that's the way he says it. This is how I say it. SFI is still in the latter stages of formulation with much to come. We are at the right place, at the right time, with the right opportunity, to be the success and live our dreams, because we all have each other. You, I, Bing, we have each other. When I say, do you have my six? I mean, we need to be positive about each other. I see in the forum of late all kinds of derogatory crap that just, it sickens me, because not because there may be truth in it, not because uh, people don't get angry and want to voice their opinion, but because that image is before the whole world. Now, I don't know about you, but people are like grains of sand on the beach and in the annals of time. I use this in this context so that you understand that you influence more than you know, but yet you are minute in your nature. You see, on the beach, the tide comes in and the tide goes out. And as the tide comes in, it packs the sand, and as the tide rolls out, it pulls it out with it. And each little grain of sand is like you and me and everything else. And that's what we're presenting ourselves to, is like a grain of sand in the annals of time. And we're clinging to each other to hold our ground, hold on to the solid ground and not be pulled out to sea. So as we look at that and how that influences us, it should be ever mindful to us. And the motto of what I'm speaking of is that we all have to stick together in order to maintain the solidity of life. We form the beach. We are the strength of the foundation of the land that we build our homes on. We are the strength of the culture and the country we live in by the way we display ourselves before others. We are the strength of how we represent not only ourselves, our immediate family, our generations previous to us, but to look forward, the generations yet to come, to leave something for them that is a legacy to live up to, that the principles and the influence that we left for them is respected, has integrity, can be passed on in honor. Because I'm going to tell you, folks, everything in life is for sale except two things: honor and integrity. You must give them away. Your honor and integrity. No person can take it from you. No person can cause you to do wrong. And no person can influence you in such a way as to impugn your honor or integrity, provided you're focused on the we around you. If you're surrounding yourself with negative influences, whether it be people who don't work, people who are skeptical, people, they, I think it was Tony Robbins, and I'll stand corrected, but I'll give him credit until I know better. I think it was Tony Robbins that said, we are 1/5 of the 5 people that we surround ourselves with. And that to effect change, we have to surround ourselves with 5 other people that are of higher quality, and to be in always striving to move ourselves up in a group of people that are united, that are pointed, if you would, towards the top, if you would, that are focused upon the needs of others. You see, the needs of others is the whole key to influence and power. That guy that you're going to talk to about SFI doesn't want to know what you did. He doesn't care what or he needs to do because he don't know you and don't care about you at all. He cares what's in it for him. He cares what can he gain toward living his dream from you. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you folks tonight, because I think that the influence we have on others is directly related to the proportion of success that we afford ourselves. Our success depends predominantly on taking positive action, influencing others, and filling their needs. And in turn, that will fill our needs in return. As my mentor Zig Ziglar used to say, if you help enough people get what they want, you will have what you want. Well, SFI's principle is the identical same thing. If you help enough other people get what they want, and be there as a help, be there as an influence of good, be there as the smile that they need, because they're either scared, they don't know if they can do it, they don't understand, or they just need someone to say, I believe in you, and I will walk every step of the way by your side as we both work towards our dream. That's the influence you've got to have on others. That's what will make your downline respond to you if they intend to do anything at all. And that's in the simplest form of what Gary put in to how to be a great sponsor, and what the not to do's were and what the to do's were. Let's talk a little about power. Power is a funny thing. The people who control power have the greatest influence on the needs of others. You see, in order to be the top salesperson and win the Outstanding Sales Award, I had to care more about other people than I cared about myself. I had to show that I deeply appreciated being in those individuals' presence, and that I wanted to offer them a solution for what their need or want was. I wasn't there to sell them anything. I wasn't there to get them to buy anything. I was there to fill a need or a want. And when you start to look at that approach in that manner, what starts to happen to you in your life is you start to live that way. When you start to be compassionate towards others, and how you might be, offer a smile, how you might say, good day, how are you? Hey, have a great day, or be blessed. You know, you don't have to know a person to give away a smile. You don't have to know, and a smile's free. And you got millions of them, and you'll stay younger looking if you smile more often than you frown. It's an anatomical fact that it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. So if you smile and you do it with your heart, with a concern and compassion, to help others succeed, your influence will grow, your power will grow, and when you walk, you'll walk more erect. You'll broaden the light around you. You'll create a atmosphere like I receive from you when I come into a room, like you receive from your family when you speak and are being heard. It is so imperative that every aspect of our life be searched by ourselves, not by me, not by your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your mother or your dad, by yourself. You must search from within and utilize all of the tools that I'm giving you in a combined effort to create that dream that you desire and the reason that you're here listening to me. As your coach and mentor, gratefully so, I accept that responsibility. But I also take that responsibility very serious in that my influence on you is a direct correlation to how you're going to influence others. So to me, that's not a burden. That's an offering of love and understanding that everybody has to grow together in order to create an environment that will fulfill our wildest dreams. It's about sharing and caring, having a kind word on a down day, but not being afraid to call each other to action when we see one of us lagging behind. You know, it's a funny thing about the climb to success. You see, we're not going up there. I know you've been told all your life you want to get to the top. Well, I'm going to dispel that for you right now. We are on a plane that is gravitationally holding us to the ground that doesn't allow us to go up unless it's via airplane or a rope or something like that. So our ahead is before us. Our past is behind us. Our knowledge is in the middle between the past and the future, and the time is now. As we go forward and start to grow, and we start to learn to trust one another, that we're not here just greedily trying to overcome each other or be better than each other, as we continue to teach each other that kindness, joy, and happiness are much to be preferred over negativity, slothfulness, and disintegrated and discouraging and disparaging of one another. You see, it's funny how we influence others without really realizing it, isn't it? The thought of influence and its power is far greater than the artist's work, for it lasts for an eternity. And that influence that you're going to put out and that you're part of creating is going to be in your memory bank of life. And when you reach the end of your journey and you want to say, I'm successful, did you fill the bank with the memories that will last a lifetime and that you can enjoy and smile and be happy? Or did you fill the bank with inactivity, no deposits of positivity, negative feelings, hurtful statements that we don't think about? Let me tell you, It's a bitter withdrawal if you did. And you will want to close that account because the account that you were saving for, being full of joy and happiness, being full of positive people surrounding us, will keep you healthy. It will make you wealthy. And I guarantee you, you will become wise. And as you look towards the youth that will follow, you'll understand clearly your place and the influence you have to them to continue your future and to live your dream. So it's not all about me. It's not all about I. And the problem is we've been dealing with I too long. It's about us. It's about we. It's about you. It's about me, you and me, not I. The next time that you go to say I, think about it. Because I is an inward looking statement. I. It speaks of your want, your need, or your position. I. Try to exchange that for words that are met with a more peaceful understanding, like, well, let us look at this. There must be a way we can make this work. There must be something that all of us can do. As we think and go forward, and I'm just about to wind this thing up, I'm reminded of the very simple rules of success. Many of us want success, yet relatively few of us attain it. We make the difference between those that do and those that don't, the influence. Much has been, they've written book after book on the subject. And it's a broad one with no simple answer, I'm sure, the simple rules for success. You hear some people say you can be a success by doing nothing. You hear some people say that you'll only obtain success through hard work. But let me give you a few tips, and you can write them down if you'd like to. I'm going to give you a few tips on Dr. King's simple rules for success. 1, when you say you have a dream or that you have a need, want, or desire, the first thing that will lead you in the direction of success is to have a clear direction. Now, this may be called like a vision or a dream or a passion, something you're just passionate about wanting to do. Whatever you call it, you need to have something that drives you in a solid and clear direction. Does that make sense? I hope so. So, number one is you've got to have a vision, a dream, or a passion. And whatever you want to call it, I call it you must have a clear direction. You need to have something that drives you. Now, if SFI don't drive you, if you're not driven from within, if you're trying to make it a job and calling it a business, if it doesn't drive you or compel you or draw you, then maybe it won't work for you. You may have, I'm not going to say you'll fail. What I am going to say to you is you'll have limited success. So, number one, have a clear direction. I know you've heard it before, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. And in all of my teachings with you, I've always got something in each seminar, if you've noticed, that gets your pencil out. And the reason I do that is so we together later on can either listen to a replay, have the notes in front of us to recall some of the things that we valued, to see what the total merit of what I showed you was, to cause us to be cohesive together and to start our journey in that first step towards our dream. So the second thing I want to tell you to do is write it down. You think I'm crazy? Have a clear direction about your vision, dream, or passion and write it down. Write down, and in speaking with Bing today, we were talking about several things as rapidly as we were working and going along, and Bing was telling me about some interesting things that he would like to do if he had the time, because he thought he would really enjoy it. It moved him. And I said to Bing, ask yourself two questions. Why do I want to do this? And what is my goal? What is my direction? Why do I want to do it? And what is my direction? The old why question. If you can tell yourself why you want it, if you can tell yourself what you hope to accomplish out of it, then for God's sakes, you and I both know that when you jump into the middle of it and you start to roll the dough out, that we sometimes lose focus of why and what we want to achieve. It's why I tell you, write it down. Write down what you want to achieve. Write down the vision that you have for it, the passion, the dream. This will make it clearer. And what it does do is what the eye reads, the mind stores. So if we write it down, first of all, we've created a cognitive action. We're writing our thought. As the eye pervades the thought, it becomes a reality. As that reality centers in our mind, it is filed, and whatever that may be is going to be the positive nucleus of our passion, our vision, or our dream. This makes it clearer, gives it permanence. It'll no longer be some vague idea in your head once you put it on paper. Writing it gives it life. It gives life to our ideas. If we write it to ourselves, our eye sees it, our mind conceives it, we store it in as a nucleus, and it causes us to give it life, to birth it, if you would. As with having a child or raising a young child, the third thing that I think about is refining it. It's like growing an infant. We care for it, we nurture it, we feed it, we change it, we teach it to walk, we teach it to talk, and we safeguard it. Well, that's the same thing you've got to do to your dream, vision, or passion. You've got to nurture it. You've got to grow it. You've got to help it to become a reality, to give life to it, that you are refining it. You see, first we defined the vision as a clear direction. Secondly, we wrote it down and told the mind this is a reality. Now we start to refine it, and as we refine our dream over time, we polish it up as we grow and learn. You see, we hadn't reached one moment's action other than writing it down. But yet, you can see the influence at work in what I'm talking about. First of all, we decided on a vision or a dream or a passion that we held dear to our heart, that we just absolutely defined a clear direction in our mind of what we really would like to do. We then wrote it down and brought it to life. Then we refined it by growing it and nurturing it and loving it and sharing all of the positive aspects of it with it, so that it came up and it had light, it had substance, it had youth, it had passion, it had exuberance, it had the want to learn that we all must have within us. It had the want to solve. It had the want to polish it up, if you would. I hate this headphone, guys. Polish it up like a diamond. You know, you dig a diamond. And there was a thing on the internet the other day about a young boy, and in Arkansas in the United States, we have a place over there where diamonds are everywhere, but they're just very minuscule diamonds. And you can pay to go in there and you can search around, and whatever you find, you get to keep. And lots of people go there, and most everybody that goes there finds at least a little tiny diamond. Well, the other day, a young boy went there with his dad, and he found like a 5.5 carat raw diamond. And when you looked at the pictures on the internet, you could see that it was raw, it had pits in it, it had dirt in the pits, it was discolored, and it was not the gem that we picture in our mind that a diamond would be. But nonetheless, it was the same as your direction, writing it down and refining it. It was your dream in the raw. Now, the young man and his dad took it to the park ranger or whoever weighs that kind of stuff, and it was I think they said the 27th largest diamond ever found there in size. Quite a feat. And he picked it up because it looked like a piece of glass laying on the ground. Just a dirty piece of glass. Turned out to be a 5.5 carat diamond, which, when polished and cut, when lovingly the jeweler, if you would, you, the jeweler of life, took the raw material that was placed in their hands and lovingly started to refine it into a precious work of art until it gave off the most powerful brilliance that was admired by all and created light for the boy that found it, for the people that saw it, for the jeweler who refined it. And in doing that, we're the same way. If we don't have a clear direction, if we don't bring it to life by writing it down so we visualize it, because the eye believes what it reads, regardless of whether it's good or bad, it will believe what it reads. And we tell ourselves, no, I don't believe nothing I see on TV, and no, I don't believe what I read, only half of what I read. Well, let me tell you, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. If you read it, your mind believes it. Whether you consciously give credence to that or not, your mind believes it. And if your mind believes it, then, and it's a negative charge, it affects how you become the person you want to be. Now we're up to a stage. We have to plan to succeed. That's number 4, folks. Make a clear direction, write it down, refine it. Now comes the point of action. Plan for it. Make a solid plan on how you're going to achieve it. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan, if there ever was such a thing. It just needs to be a solid plan that has the potential to be molded and changed. Key word, changed. One of the jumping off points of I. One of the procrastinations of the person who never succeeds. One of the absolutely most negative things that we could have as a part of our journey for ourselves and for those we surround ourselves with. So we have to plan for it now, because we know what direction we're going. It's like having your roadmap to success. We know what direction we need to go. We've mapped it out. We've checked all the route, make sure about the price of this, the weather, whatever. And now we're planning to get ready to leave. Guess what the next step is? And the next 2 steps are the keys to everything else that you've done up till now. We must execute. All the biggest dreams in the world, all the best plans laid down, all of the refining of our knowledge, all the absolute planning that we do boils down to making the first step of the journey. The rest was all formulation. Now we must execute. Execute sounds like another word, doesn't it? But to execute is to take action, to be precise about executing something is to take action on it. All the best written plans are useless if there's no execution. You have to work at it every day. And what happens is, as you make little efforts on a daily basis, it's far better than huge efforts part of the time. You see, I would like to say that we have to have continuity. Continuity being a continual direct action performed over and over to reach a goal. The continuity of execution. So little efforts every day keep us in touch. It's why the format of SFI is to bring you there and to work your tabs. A little action, a little execution, putting you in the arena, showing you different things, placing things before you that are a part of your dream. It's actually the continuity that you've planned for, refined, written down, and are passionate about, if that's what you're doing. So if we come one day and don't come back for 3 days, then all of a sudden we'll work 2 days in a row as hard as we can go for 12, 14 hours. And then we say, "I'll let it take care of it. I'm caught up for the day and tomorrow." Consistency and continuity are two of the same items. Consistency is important. The continuity is how you apply a consistent execution and you make it a whole, a habit. And when consistency and execution and continuity, along with a good plan, start to form, it becomes a habit. And as it becomes a habit, you make it a habit to work on your dream. So that's why they say you must have a vision and a passion, a dream. Because if it's someone else's dream, it's not you. If it's your dream and this is the vehicle you've chosen, then your chances of success are 90% greater. But number 6 that I'm going to give you has stopped most people and more people than I can ever tell you about. That is persevere. Perseverance. Isn't it amazing? People get caught up in changes, and that becomes their focus. People get caught up in the negative aspects of something, and that becomes their focus. And you're either pursuing, to persevere means to pursue and overcome. To persevere means to never give up. But to persevere the way we need to persevere, we need to think about the influence and how consistent we remain and what continuity is there in that consistency that we work it every day, and how that we are sticking to our plan, which is our dream that we have polished till we believe that it is worthy of stepping out and showing off. So challenges will arise all along the way, but perseverance and never giving up are the keys to the execution of your dream. Think about this. When you see a change coming your way, don't duck it. Don't try to get around it. Don't try to go under it. Don't try to change it. Accept it, adjust, allow it to become part of the polished refinement of your dream, and change the plan if you must, but don't give up. You see, plans depend largely upon others. Am I right? The best laid plan, there's a saying, the best laid plans of men and mice pave the pathway to hell, but execution and action will save them if they never give up. So, as we stop and think about it, then, and we meet that change, we need to become liquid in how we accept change. We need to allow change to flow as though it was a river of knowledge, of consistent input that is molding us and helping us to realize our dream. There are books out there, and I selected a quote off of the internet today, and I'm not real familiar with this individual, but I bet they're great people. And so the credit for this goes to a doctor. And here's what we're going to say: there's a big difference between wishing and being a dreamer. Dreamers design their ideal life and work to achieve it every day. They don't believe in chance or luck. Wishers wait on a genie to grant their, a genie. When I say that, I mean a genie, like a genie in the bottle. Wishers wait on a genie to grant their three wishes all their lives. The problem is the genie are not in style anymore. They don't exist. If the genie were to ever show up, I assure you, if you found a bottle today and you were granted three wishes, you still wouldn't know what to wish for. The doctor and I concur in his statement. There's a big difference between wishing and being a dreamer. Dreamers design their ideal life and work to achieve it every day. They don't believe in chance or luck. They believe in refinement, increase in knowledge, surrounded by positivity, with a persistent action that is continuously moving in a consistent manner towards their dream every day. While the wishers in our life are the ones we see that are waiting on that genie in the bottle to come to grant their three wishes. And if it gets too tough, trust me, they won't even care about the genie. They'll be gone. Those are some powerful principles that I've laid down for you. Perhaps I've given you some clues that you already knew. Perhaps I've reinforced your knowledge that you had already acquired somewhere else. Perhaps I've enlightened you in the smallest way as to pique your interest in you to the point that you will think about the influence you have on others, that you will remove the I from your life and replace it with the we's and us's, that you will focus on loving others, being compassionate toward your fellow man, no matter their stature, whether they be rich or poor, sick or well, that you will look at humanity as a part of you as a whole, as a brotherhood or sisterhood that is united by a common bond, and that is the need to pursue happiness, abundance, and love. I'm Dr. David King. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it.
Well, son of a gun, I think I got my camera work anyway. Can anybody hear me?
I hear you just fine, Ron.
Oh, right on. Thank you very much, Dr. King. Going through all this, like, holy smoke.
You're breaking up just a little bit.
Come on.
Let me back out, Lyle, and let's see how that works.
Go. I think web controller's not responding here. What's happening? Everyone still hear me? I'm going to turn my camera off. I think maybe that might be my problem. Still hear me? Great. Is that better? Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. King, for speaking tonight. I know for a fact some of